In a world where comfort is king, where weakness is marketed as self-love, one name still echoes like a war cry through the ages: Sparta. This is the Spartan Code, a series by the discipline theory. In a world of shortcuts, we choose the long road. He who sweats more in training bleeds less in battle. Spartan proverb. Before the myth, before the legend, there was only a city carved by stone and hardship. Sparta, a name born not from luxury but from necessity. Surrounded by mountains shielded from the sea, Laconia was no paradise. It was a crucible. Around the 10th century BC, Dorian invaders settled the fertile valley near the Eurotas River. But fertile land bred conflict. War came early and never left. The First and Second Messenian Wars would shape the soul of the Spartan people. Outnumbered by the helots they enslaved, the Spartans lived in constant fear of revolt. Fear became fuel, comfort a liability. And so they restructured everything, not for pleasure, not for wealth, but for survival. Sparta chose one goal: to become invincible. At the age of 7, a Spartan boy left home forever, not to be raised, but to be remade. The Agoge was no school. It was a war on the soft self, a daily ritual of obedience, suffering, and silence. Boys were taught to steal, but punished if caught. Why? Because cleverness mattered more than appetite. Hunger was normal, pain was constant, sleep was earned. At 12, they were given one cloak, no shoes, no bed, no fire. Discipline wasn't taught through rewards. It was instilled through ritual deprivation. Their bodies adapted to cold. Their minds adapted to fear. Their speech adapted to silence. This was not cruelty. This was the curriculum of control. Spartan discipline is not just about fighting. It is about commanding the self. 3 principles ruled their lives: endure what others escape, control what others indulge, execute what others delay. They lived with less to become more. They suffered early to become unshakable later. They didn't rely on motivation. They relied on ritual. Discipline wasn't something you accessed. It was something you became. In Sparta, discipline wasn't praised. It was expected. Anything less was dishonor. Discipline wasn't practiced. It wasn't even chosen. It was expected. A Spartan didn't need to feel inspired. He only needed to remember the code. Their lives were shaped by 3 rules: endure what others escape, control what others indulge, execute what others delay. No comfort, no breaks, only repetition, precision, restraint. This wasn't about being motivated to act. It was about becoming someone who acts, regardless of feeling. Spartan discipline was a shield against distraction, a weapon against doubt, a death sentence to hesitation. You didn't become disciplined in Sparta. You were discipline, or you were nothing. There's a story. A boy hides a fox under his cloak. It bites into his stomach. He shows no pain. He dies silently. Why? Because in Sparta, breaking discipline was worse than death. It wasn't about bravery. It was about identity. Spartans didn't ask, "How do I feel?" They asked, "What does the code require of me?" They were not trained to fight. They were trained to obey the inner order, even when bleeding. Spartan mothers were not spared the code. They were its guardians. When a son left for war, she handed him his shield and said, "Come back with it, or on it." It wasn't cruelty. It was clarity. In Sparta, discipline was sacred. Survival without honor was a disgrace. To live without your code was not to live at all. Mothers didn't raise sons. They raised soldiers of self-rule. You are not in ancient Sparta, but your battle is no less real. You face a different kind of enemy. Distraction, addiction, laziness, excuse, doubt. No one's training you, no one's forcing you, but that's the test. Can you suffer by choice? Can you rise without applause? Can you build in silence? Spartan discipline today looks like waking up without negotiation, training without needing motivation, saying no when comfort begs you to say yes, ending the day exhausted but proud. Your modern weapons: structure, stillness, repetition, focus. You don't carry a shield, but your calendar is one, your alarm is one, your routine is your armor, and your action, that is your oath. Warriors are not born in battle. They are born in silence, in early mornings, in cold rooms, in tasks no one sees. The Spartan Code isn't ancient. It's alive every time you say no to ease, and yes to what must be done. Every representative, every fast, every time you show up anyway, that is you awakening the warrior within. This is the Spartan Code. Chapter 1 is complete, but the discipline begins now. You've been watching the Discipline Theory. New videos every week. Master your habits. Change your life. Spartans do not ask how many the enemy are, only where they are.